Ever wonder how Whoopi Goldberg became, well, Whoopi Goldberg? You know, the icon, the legend.
The one and only.
Exactly. And today we're going deep, deep into her memoir, Bits and Pieces, to uncover just that.
Yeah, it's fascinating, right? We get to peek behind the curtain, see the woman behind the persona.
It's not about the red carpets or the awards, though. It's about the values, the experiences, the people who made her who she is.
Right, the foundation.
And her upbringing. 1960s Chelsea, that might surprise you. Picture this. The Chelsea projects. Kids running around, stickball games, music.
A melting pot.
Totally. And a strong sense of community, too, from what I gathered.
Oh, absolutely. And within that, what we might perceive as difficult circumstances, there's this surprising amount of culture woven in.
You'd think growing up in the projects would be tough, but Whoopi talks about it with such fondness. Almost magical.
It's true. She describes kids shouting up to their windows for a quarter when the shade ice cart rolled by. Those shared experiences, trips to Coney Island.
Speaking of Coney Island, what struck me was Whoopi's mom, Emma. Talk about a force of nature. She was determined her kids' world would be bigger than their immediate surroundings.
Oh, absolutely. She famously told Whoopi, listen, the confines of this neighborhood do not represent the confines of your life. You can go and do and be whatever you want.
Wow. Powerful.
Isn't it? But then she adds, but whatever you choose, be yourself.
Oh, I like that. So it's about pushing boundaries, but staying true.
Exactly. But it makes you wonder, right? How did she manage it? Broadway shows, Radio City Music Hall, museums, all on, let's be honest, probably a tight budget.
The woman was resourceful. It's almost like she willed it all to happen.
It's that resourcefulness, that practicality, mixed with this deep, unwavering love for her children. It's really something.
It's a beautiful contradiction, this down-to-earth pragmatism coupled with, like you said, this almost magical ability to make those experiences happen for her children.
And it makes her story all the more compelling,
Yeah.
Shows you that sometimes the greatest adventures are born out of necessity and a whole lot of love.
Totally. Though things do take a turn, don't they, when we learn about Emma's hospitalization?
Yeah, that's when things shift a bit. It's a poignant part of the book, for sure.
It is. It feels heavier somehow, more real.
Whoopi's honesty, her vulnerability when she describes that period, it's raw. It really highlights the lack of communication, the lack of support from the adults around her at the time.
Imagine being a child, your mom is hospitalized, and no one explains what's going on. Terrifying.
It's no wonder this experience had such a profound impact on her, on how she views life, even how she's dealt with her own struggles later on.
It's like that feeling of isolation, confusion. It just leaps off the page. She talks about feeling like she had to be good, not cause any trouble, almost like it was her fault.
It's heartbreaking.
And what's even more fascinating is that even years later, Whoopi's still trying to piece it all together.
Right. It speaks volumes about their family dynamic, how much was kept under wraps, unspoken.
The weight of those unspoken truths, especially for a child, it's a lot to carry.
And it makes you wonder, how did that shape her, influence her relationships, even her career choices later on?
Did it contribute to her becoming this strong, independent figure we know today?
It's definitely something to consider, something to unpack as we delve deeper into Whoopi's story.
It's interesting, right? Despite everything, all the challenges she faced growing up, there's this incredible warmth to her story, this resilience.
Oh, absolutely. And it shines through, especially when she talks about her brother, Clyde.
Oh, their bond, right? It's palpable.
It really is. He was more than just her brother. He was her protector, confidant, partner in crime, you can tell.
Especially during those years with their mother in and out of the hospital.
Yeah, you really sense him stepping up, filling that void. He was her rock. And later, even as her career takes off, he becomes her driver. Can you imagine?
Your brother, your driver, that says something.
It speaks volumes about their connection. They were inseparable.
And the stories, oh my gosh, the story she tells. The time they stumble upon Disneyland just driving through Anaheim, it's hilarious.
That's fantastic.
It's clear they had this incredible bond, this shared sense of humor, adventure.
And that laughter, that shared history, it's a powerful thing. But, beyond the laughter and the fun, it's impossible to ignore the values that both Emma and Clyde instilled in Whoopi.
Oh, absolutely. Talk about a legacy.
Resilience, humor, kindness, this unwavering belief in the good in people. They wove that into her DNA.
It's true, and it really comes through in the book. Those values are a recurring theme. shaping her interactions, how she deals with challenges, even her own parenting style.
Exactly. It's like a golden thread throughout her life.
Right.
Like that story about the neighbors who look down on them, remember? And Emma insists Whoopi invites them to her Broadway show.
Oh, that's right.
What a power move, right? And it perfectly illustrates how those values translated into action.
It's not just about being nice, it's about rising above, challenging assumptions, extending grace, even when it's hard.
Exactly. Seeing the humanity in everyone, even those who might not deserve it. And that's something I think Whoopi carries with her. That ability to find the good, even when faced with negativity.
Do you think that's something she consciously cultivated, or is it just ingrained?
I think it's both, you know. But even when she talks about experiencing racism, prejudice, it's always with this underlying strength, a refusal to be defined by those experiences.
It's true. She talks about people commenting on how she doesn't sound black, facing discrimination in Hollywood, but she never lets it consume her.
It's remarkable. She approaches those situations with a mix of humor, frustration, even sadness, but never bitterness. It's like she learned to navigate those complexities early on.
It's like having this inner compass guiding her through difficult times.
And I think that comes from Emma. You know, that ability to cut through the noise, see things for what they are, question assumptions. That's Emma's influence.
To stand up for yourself without letting anger consume you?
Exactly. And that approach, that blend of humor, resilience, belief in people, it becomes a defining characteristic in Whoopi's career. It's in the roles she chooses, the way she speaks out, how she connects with people from all walks of life.
It's funny because despite achieving incredible success, she remains so grounded.
Down to earth.
Authentic. She never forgets where she came from, those values that shaped her.
Absolutely. And that authenticity, it extends to her vulnerability too. Because Bits and Pieces, it's not just a celebration of her successes, it's also a reflection on loss, the impact of losing both her mother and brother.
Yeah, and you really feel that loss in this last part of the book. It's palpable.
It is. It's heavy, especially when she talks about Clyde.
You can tell he was it for her, like her person.
Her beacon, she calls him. The one who truly knew her. I mean, think about it. Family was everything.
Her anchor.
Exactly. So losing them both, even years apart.
Devastating.
She talks about wanting to just crawl into a cave and hole up.
Oh, I get it. When grief hits you like a ton of bricks.
And she doesn't sugarcoat it. She's raw, honest about the struggle. But even in those dark moments...
You see that fight in her.
Oh, yeah. That strength, that refusal to be defeated. That's Emma and Clyde's legacy ingrained in her.
She was taught to just keep swimming, right?
She talks about that. About how her upbringing taught her to pull yourself together, dust yourself off.
And to ask for help when you need it, which is huge.
Absolutely.
Right.
Recognizing you can't do it all alone, that's strength, not weakness.
100%. And I think that's what makes Bits and Pieces so powerful. It's not just, look at me, I'm a star now. It's real.
It's raw, honest, funny, heartbreaking. It's the full human experience, you know.
The good, the bad, and everything in between. And it reminds you that even those who seem like they have it all still grapple with the same things we all do.
Loss, grief, love, family, it's universal.
It really makes you appreciate the people in your own life, those connections, those anchors.
It makes you think about the seemingly small moments from your childhood that shaped you, right?
Oh, totally. And how do we honor those who shaped us even when they're gone? Big questions.
The mark we leave behind. It's something to think about.
It really is. Well, if you haven't already, pick up a copy of Bits and Pieces. You won't regret it.
It's a wild ride, in the best way possible.
Whoopi's story will stay with you long after you finish the last page. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time.